I feel like it should be us talking. You said when we were testing it out, right, y'all, we got this new music. Christine was like, "It should have your voice." I think it should have our voices.
Our voices kind of coming in
Yeah, like, "Come
over
on
it.
in, y'all." You say, "Grab your
Right.
favorite snack, grab a drink." What
Welcome.
do you think?
Join us for some tea and conversation.
Yeah, today we're talking
Right?
about intellectual wellness, y'all. Yeah,
Right? All
I
right.
like it. How
All
you
right.
doing?
We'll figure I'm good. I kind of want because we have the new music, I kind of I want to keep dancing and kind of
Yeah.
getting it. It's not quite in my body yet.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, what, but I'm loving it. And I
Yeah,
love that when the guitar comes in and
yeah.
yeah, I'm
Maybe we
enjoying
can
that.
do a remix. It sounds like we need to pull the end up a little bit so we can, like, have a beat drop in the end. We'll talk about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
Intellectualize
Ooh.
about it. Intellectualize about
Play
it.
more. We're
Like
creating.
seriously.
So our listeners know this season we're trying out this music. So it may stay the same or it may change. We may remix it. I love that idea. That would be
Yeah,
fun and put a little in it.
something.
Right? So fun.
Yeah.
So how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I've been enjoying watching the leaves start to fall, watching the rain pitter-patter on the leaves. What about you?
Mm,
Mhm.
I'm good. I just got back from Pennsylvania. I
Right.
was out there with Dr. Sheila K. Collins, one of
Yeah.
our Women Connected in Wisdom, for her inaugural Art
Mhm.
of Grieving retreat.
Mm,
And it was powerful. Like
mm,
the combination of art and nature and telling our stories and yeah, it was really powerful. And there is a place that I would highly recommend to anybody that's up in that part of Pennsylvania. There was a place called the Ruins, and it was a place that a internationally known mosaic artist. She grew up in that part of the world. It was coal mining country, and when she was little, she would walk down to the river with her mom or drive by it, and there was this cute little brick house, and
mm.
she would say, "I love that house. I love that house." And so they would tease her and say, "Oh, that's Rachel's house. That's Rachel's house." So she goes off, gets her degree, becomes this international mosaic artist. She decides it's time to buy a house, but she wants to come out of Pittsburgh, more home, which is
Yeah,
the Appalachians. It's in the
yeah.
mountains of
Okay.
Pennsylvania. And so
Mm,
she saved a little money. She gets on to go buy a property, and lo and behold, this little brick house is for sale and it's in foreclosure. So she leaps. They said the story goes, even though her dad was like, "What are you doing? You can't inspect it." She's like, "Nope, it's my house. It's been my house for years," right? So she buys
yeah.
the house. She's out with her cup of tea the next morning, or coffee. I can't remember if it's tea or coffee. She's walking the property. Well, she finds out part of what she had bought was a closed up coal mine. It
Mm.
was from years ago, from 100 years ago.
Wow.
And I didn't know a lot about coal because I wasn't raised in coal country, but there was all these ruins. There were these concrete walls where they used to stack the coal, where they used to put it together, where they used to put it on the trains and it would go on the railroad to heat everybody's home, right?
Mm,
And so all these concrete walls, well, mosaicists, that's what they use to put their mosaics out. Like it was a
mm,
perfect canvas. So
mm,
she created and started inviting international artists from all over the world to come in to honor the stories of this place, the stories of the town, the stories of the miners, the history of the area. Stunning. So it's one of the largest, if not the largest, mosaic installation in the
mm.
nation.
Wow.
And so we got to tour it. It's very sacred and you don't even know it's there. Like it's in the tree. Like she didn't know it was there when she bought it, right?
Hmm.
And so we got to tour it, hear the stories of the ancestors that had been there and of that place. And then they led us in a mosaic workshop in that sacred space. Yeah, it was something
Rachel's
else.
house.
Right? It was and
Mhm.
it's Sager Mosaics. I'll put a link in it. Tours are not open to the public. You've gotta make an appointment, and, so you can't just walk off the street. It's not but it's worth it to contact them and make an appointment, and I'll
Okay.
put a link to it, and she
Exclusive resources.
right? And
Uh,
also she teaches, mosaics, and
mm,
I got sparked. Like,
Oh,
I was
why the
like
hesitation? Go, Christine,
right?
go.
Well, I'm already a mixed media artist, but
So what's
I had not thought I was a mosaic artist, and I realized the reason I didn't think I was because my first mosaic I bit off more than I could chew. I did this hue, and
she's
I
done it
failed at it,
before. Y'all hear
right?
this? Okay.
Right? I failed
Okay.
at it,
I hear
and so I
you.
was like, "Oh, this is not my modality." But I
Mm,
have to tell you, I'll have to send you a little picture of the cute mosaic I made in this
yeah.
class, and now I'm sparked. Because I
Okay.
mean, it's all my values, right? It's
Mhm,
recycling,
mhm,
it's using what you have on hand, it's
mhm,
taking something that's broken and putting it
mhm,
back together into something
mhm,
that's beautiful. Like,
mhm.
mm, here for it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, this is honoring the indigenous, you know what I mean? Like, that's
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
it's everything that I love, and I was like, "Alright, I gotta do a little more of this." So
I'm happy you found that, and especially on this trip,
right?
talking about the art of grieving and, I was watching something. I've been watching a lot of animation and stuff. I think it was this person that was, going to the dark side, and they were like, "Time doesn't heal. They lie to you." And I thought about Sheila's spiral, because it comes back
Mhm.
and you think it's gonna go away and it comes back and you're like, "I'm still dealing with this." Um, but on each level, we're talking about, rewriting the rules of your life tonight and today on the podcast. And I think about when I come back around on the spiral sometimes of things, well, how do I operate now? What are the
Mm.
rules and the lines that I operate within now? And like, how does this help me in another way? Or how does it show me something else about myself? How do I learn more about this person that I'm missing or whatever it is? Um, it is different. And I get that without some of the tools that Sheila talks about in faith, like it can feel like time doesn't help. But, we know that is not where you have to live with it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, at times a piece of it, and
Yeah.
often it's other things, and I'm loving bringing in the art to process. So we did that, and then we did an intuitive watercolor painting at a place called Touchstone Arts.
Mm,
And then, of course, we did interplay throughout the whole weekend, so we really leaned into art making and storytelling, and
fun.
it was oh, yeah, had a fire both ni
Fun.
like, it
I
was,
love a good there.
I can't wait till our Women Connected in Wisdom retreat. I came back on fire about that. I was like, "All right, it's time.
What else
Time to
did you
get that on
daydream
the
for the
calendar."
retreat? When you thought about Women Connected in Wisdom retreat, what came up for you? I know it
Mm,
that we haven't let's give our listeners something that we haven't talked about. Maybe there was something we haven't talked about earlier, you and I.
right.
Yeah,
Well, it's gotta be nature and in a beautiful place.
yeah,
It's gotta be, in a place where we can tell our stories, right? I love having a good fire. Like,
me
it
too.
is to me, there's just we did some ceremony and it's just powerful for connections and creating brave and sacred spaces in order to share our authentic selves and to rest and renew, I think all of that is crucial.
I love it.
And you know me, if there's a river or a waterfall or some kind of body of water nearby.
And that's what I was just thinking, maybe the sound of water in the morning. Like we could do the fire at night, let go of stuff at night, and then do like renewal and water and refresh in the morning.
Mm,
We could talk
mm.
about that. We'll play with it. We'll let y'all know. We've been talking about it for a while, so we have some things in the work for you. Make sure that you stay subscribed, you stay tuned.
Well, we might have to go to Australia. Our guest today is from Australia, and we might wouldn't that be fun? A
It would be fun.
destination retreat
And we've
and,
talked about it.
right?
I mean, if we have as many retreats as we have seasons, we have a list of places to choose from. So season 25, I think Australia is on the top 25 places.
Right? And women connected in wisdom to go visit across the globe.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we have a couple of those. Well, how about we do our official welcome, kick this
Yes.
off, and let's get going. You ready?
Let's do it. Yes, yes, yes. I am Shannon Mitchell, y'all, a Black millennial entrepreneur and Amazon bestselling author, publisher, and all natural product manufacturer. I'm a champion for your natural self care, sustainable business care, and overall intentional wellness.
Hi, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, best-selling author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade your self and community care.
Together, we are a podcast rooted in 8 dimensions of wellness and the co founders of Women Connected in Wisdom Community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. How do we do this?
Mm. And like we said, we're talking about intellectual wellness. You wanna go ahead and go through the definition in our bio so we can,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Let's do
brief
it.
our guests?
So, intellectual wellness includes having access to different sources of information and developing critical thinking and timely decision making skills. Also, continually learning through intentional intellectual growth, situations, and artistic creativity can help maintain one's intellectual capacity.
And today, y'all, to talk about intellectual wellness, we have Joe Stone. Joe is the CEO of the Balance Institute, a transformative coaching and consulting business that has supported hundreds of high achieving women in redefining success and creating balanced, fulfilling lives. Drawing on her 20-year corporate career in high pressure leadership roles, Joe empowers women to shift from doing it all to truly having it all. Through her proven frameworks, Joe helps her clients overcome burnout, embrace their strengths, and find harmony between ambitious careers and personal well being. As a mom to Nikita, 15, and Stella, 12, she understands the challenges of juggling professional success with family life, making her approach both practical and deeply empathetic. Joe is passionate about challenging societal expectations and showing women that prioritizing themselves is a key to unlocking their full potential. Help us welcome to the stage Joe Stone. Hi, Joe.
Welcome, Joe.
Hi there. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Oh, of course.
We are delighted to have this conversation today
Yeah, we are.
about, I think the title of our show today is Rewrite the Rules of Your Life.
It
In
is.
pre-show, we were talking about burnout and
Mm,
burnout archetypes. Did you want
mhm.
to tell folks about what you work with your clients with and why it's important?
Yeah, burnout is something that has been around for a long time, but I am definitely seeing an exacerbation of women living in burnout. And part of that comes down to the definition because I'm seeing many women think that burnout is when they collapse or when they get hospitalized or when they get the cancer diagnosis or when they have these huge crises. But in reality, many women burn out tiny little pieces at a time. And it's this gradual erosion of self and disconnection from who they are and things that light them up and things that make them really feel like they're alive instead of just existing. And so I call this high functioning burnout, which is something that so many women are living with, but they just accept that it's the price of the juggle, the price of working and living with a family and living in this day and age.
Mm. I know when you say that word, I a part of me goes, okay, let me have it. What are the symptoms of high functioning burnout?
Right.
So, high functioning burnout is on the surface, you're still going through the motions. So, you're still going to work, knocking it out of the park, you're still feeding children, cleaning the house, doing the washing, but it's done from a complete place of numbness. So there's no joy, there is no feeling of success, there's no fulfillment, and there's usually no peace. So you feel like a robot, but that robot has constant to-do lists cracking through the head. It has constant self-criticisms. I shouldn't have done that. I should have done this. And that's how a lot of women live, which is really
Right.
scary.
Right? And I just and sad. I've been in that place before. I'm not currently in that place, thank goodness. But that place of thinking, "Oh, this is all there is."
Mm,
Right?
mhm,
And not having access to your full self. I loved it in your bio when it said having it all, because our listeners know I'm an Interplay leader, and one of our co-founders of Interplay, Phil Porter, wrote a book actually called Having It All, because he was
mhm,
talking about being in your full self. And so
mm.
from looking at your work and seeing what you're doing in that world, that feels like what you're talking about is having your full self. Will you say more about that?
Yeah, many women are actually disconnected from the truth of who they are. There's decades of conditioning societal, gender, depending on their upbringing, cultural. And interestingly, there's a whole range of common factors that particularly women, let's say in the 30 to 50 age group,
Mhm.
grew up with. If you were touched anyway by the 80s, you were told that you could do anything. You could go to the moon, you could be prime minister or president. But then the babies came along and you went, what? This doesn't work so well, especially when we interpreted that we could do it all to, that we could be whatever we wanted, that we had to do everything. And so we took on everything with our better educations, with female empowerment, with the 80s era, with the shoulder pads and Wall Street, and like we can go do it all. And we never learnt to put anything down or to delegate it, and in that process, we just put on layers and layers and layers of armor. Who we think we should be, who society says I should be. Well, I should want to be a mother and do this with my children and bake cookies, and then I should want to be successful in my career, and I should want this. And so we completely guilted and should ourselves full of armor until we became so disconnected from what we really want and who we really are.
So good. So good. And I saw this post that said, we did a really good job at telling all the little girls that they could be anything they wanted and a really bad job at preparing the little boys for it, you know? And of
Yes.
course, that's heteronormative, assuming that every little girl is gonna be with a little boy, you know? But also what you talk about reminds me of how many conversations it takes to do that. And the
Mm.
conversation that does take with the partnership, okay, I'm an astronaut, honey. We gotta go. We're gonna go. You know, you and the kids.
Yep.
What's the nutrition plan? What's the plan for the house? What's the plan for all this
Mhm.
stuff? You know, we wrapped our minds around the astronaut part and the science and the math. You know, but maybe not the when is the date gonna be when we get back type of thing. You know, it makes sense.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what I have found is that we have picked up a lot of, uh, let's say, masculine traits of let's go into the workforce, let's push, let's drive, we're going to get for goals, we're going to make money, we can have it all. But we haven't released a lot of the identity that challenges us around the home, where we still are holding on to these traits that were given to us by our mothers and our grandmothers who often didn't have the same working opportunities. My mum's in her late 70s, and she had the option of being a secretary or a nurse or a teacher or a hairdresser. They were her four choices, and that was only
Wow.
one generation ago.
Right.
And so her significance, a lot of her ego was all through the home, how it looked, how she entertained, the furniture she bought, the state of cleanliness that it was in. And that got passed down as this is what having a good home looks like. This is what a good woman does. And so many of us picked up those patterns from our parents, particularly our mothers, and then picked up the let's go into the workforce from our fathers and never actually reconciled those two sides.
And decided like, what do we want to do? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Joe.
What really matters to us. And so it's this deep conditioning that means women do shoulder the bulk of the mental load because they're not prepared for it to be done in a different way. They don't know how to delegate. They don't know how to step into conflict with a partner or a teenager or a child to say, okay, you're going to put the towels away. And there's no two ways about it. I don't care how you do it. Just put them in the cupboard instead of you
Yeah.
getting the partner to do it and then going
Folded
and
side on the out.
refolding them later.
No.
Right?
You the folded side on the out for the presentation, and I will not be coming back. You will do it again. I hear you, though. I hear you, Joe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Joe, you are so speaking my language,
Yeah.
right?
What are you thinking
I
next?
hear you. What I'm thinking about is I just got home from a business trip.
Yeah, you did.
I have 1 day of transition, and I have company coming for tomorrow. And, the person that helps me with the house got COVID and is sick. So I am like, "Oh, I've gotta do all this tonight." I hadn't even thought, "Oh, I need to have a talk with my partner to say how important this is to me." Like, right? I'm so guilty of this so many times. And,
We've just internalized it.
right? Well, and I think, my husband and I have been married 31 years, and, he's an incredible guy, and he will help, but he doesn't take 50% ownership of it, right? And
Mhm.
what he'll say to me is, well, I don't know why you think it needs to look this way or why you feel like it has to be this way. And yeah, I think it's epigenetics. I think it's not just internalized. I think it's probably passed down from our mother's wombs, and that when company's coming, the house has to have at least a few certain things be a certain way, right? I'm just feeling it in every cell of my body today.
Yeah, and men don't have that identity conditioning where the state of their house or the presentation of themselves and their family is reflective of their worth. They haven't had that built into them, whether it's been passed down genetically or any of that stuff. And so they don't feel it in their bones. You know,
No,
my
oh
husband
no, they
can
don't.
walk past stuff. I'm like, how could you walk past that? And he just does not
Right.
see it because they are not programmed that way. Whereas
Mm.
we will see everything like, oh my God, look at, the dog hair kind of barreling across the floor, and they're going to walk in and see that. And so it's genetic, it's conditioning, but it's learning to put it down because we can choose for that to serve us if we want. And I teach women how to decide what their priorities are so that you can hold on to those things and you can let go of others. Decide what actually matters to you in that moment. Because there's a chance that perhaps for you, Christine, if you just come back from a business trip, tonight something else might serve you rather than cleaning the house like a madwoman. Maybe you need to take a bath. Maybe you need to, I don't know, sit outside on your porch or go for a walk in nature, or there might be something that serves you better.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And I look back to where I started to where I am now, and I've done a lot of work around this, right? But even as we talk about it, and usually I have the things in place, right? But I have a funny story about that because it was during COVID that I decided, oh, you're going to fall over. Like this has to stop, right? Because everybody had come home and I was trying to rescue my business and do all this. And while other people were baking sourdough, I was working way too many hours and having all my grown children who had gone out to college now were back. And like, so I kept saying to my dear ones, I just need an hour by myself in a clean house. That was my mantra, right? And at one point, one of them looked at me and goes, well, you can have one of them. I'm like, which one? And they go, a clean house. Just ask somebody, like hire somebody to help you with this. And I wasn't raised that way. And it was a big thing. And I got a referral because we have somebody awesome in the neighborhood, and he comes to my house. He says hello, goes, I'll be right back. He goes straight up into my master bathroom. And at this moment, I don't think I've looked at that shower in 3 years because I don't use that shower. My husband uses that shower, right? And it's mine. And so he comes back down, quotes me, and he says, because it is dirty. And of course, I have that wash of shame, right? That first comes when you're not used to that. And then I was like, well, of course it's dirty. If it was clean, I wouldn't be hiring somebody to help me with it. Right?
Yes, yes.
Best decision I've ever made to outsource that, because there's times I like cleaning. Like I find especially when I'm traveling, I like to help other people with dishes because it's such a daily part of my life to do dishes. So it grounds me. But for the other stuff, I'm like, oh, I'd rather be podcasting. I'd rather be doing this or that and letting somebody else who really enjoys it do it. Um, so it's a journey though. I have to speak from my own experience about that. Like when you're trained that that's your job, like, whoo, you're so right about it being tied to who we are and worth and, yeah.
So when you talk about the burnout archetypes, what are the
Oh, I want to hear more about these.
I
Yes.
know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Or
So the most common archetype is what I call the silent martyr. And this
That
is the
was my
woman
mother. I love you, Mom. It was my mom.
love you, Jen.
who does everything, brewing in resentment, shoulders the load for everybody, rescues everybody, doesn't think there's any space for them in their lives because everybody needs them.
I'm a recovering silent martyr.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna own it. In
Silent
recovery.
martyr is about 40% of people who do my quiz.
Okay.
By far the most common. And the thing that they crave most above everything is just some space for me. Like, I want someone to hold me just for once because they spend their lives taking care of everybody else.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
So
not
after
as
this,
in much recovery as I think I am. I got to take.
yeah,
I-
yeah. Well, most people,
I-
when you take the quiz, you'll get one answer, but most people are a blend of at least one or two.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Next up is the hollow high achiever.
Mm.
Okay.
And this is the high achiever who looks successful on the outside, has ticked all the boxes, but life feels empty. They don't know what they're doing wrong. They feel like success will come to them, or the feeling of being good or successful will come after another achievement, after another promotion, a milestone, a financial piece. And so they keep pushing and striving, but they're the ones asking the really big questions about, is this it? Surely there has to be more to life than this. So they're our next most common. And these are particularly those women, that's where I was. Successful on the outside, look like you've got it all, you've got the great career, but you're just hollow, empty, drowning in, you're still going through the motions, but life just feels really flat. And when you erase joy, particularly from a busy life, you realize, oh my God, there's just, what's the point? What's the point? Yeah.
Yeah. So what
Next
does
up,
this person need? The hollow.
what does she need? She
Mhm.
needs to reconnect with her feelings.
Mhm.
So she needs to understand what joy is again, and that success doesn't come from chasing things outside herself.
Mhm.
She needs to reconnect back in to what she truly wants, because very often she's chasing things that she thinks she should chase, or society tells her to chase, and they're not what she actually wants. So really connecting into her true desires. And then when you chase those, they're not hollow because they're what you really want.
Mhm. What's the third
Yeah.
one? That makes sense.
Next up is the perfect striver.
Mm.
So this is for all the perfectionists in the house who are all about getting the gold stars, who want to be meticulous, who have incredibly high, often ruthless standards of themselves and others, and feel like they have to polish everything to perfection. And that is, like all perfectionists, really harboring that deep belief under a lot of armor that they're not enough. That if they're not perfect, somebody will see that they're not smart enough, not qualified enough, don't have enough experience, and their life will come crumbling apart.
Mm.
So
What
that's her
do
perfect strive.
so and what does the private striver need?
A perfect striver needs to let go.
Mm.
They need to let go of the fear that sits behind their perfectionism,
Mhm.
which is ultimately that I'm not enough. Once they start believing they're enough, they will be able to decide what is a high standard and a ruthlessly high standard. There's a difference, because
'Cause
the
we
greatest
need
fear,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
the greatest fear of a perfect striver is to settle or be mediocre,
Mhm.
and they don't want that above anything else.
Can't be mediocre.
Nope.
I've been
Be high
quoting,
too.
um, what have I been quoting? Uh, Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. I've been quoting that a lot recently. That's funny. Okay, what's next? So we have the silent martyr, the hollow high achiever, the perfect striver. What's the next one?
Next up, we have the relentless juggler.
Uh-oh.
I'm guessing you know where this is
You
going.
saying for you or me? You saying for you or me?
I was
Go.
saying for me, because
Okay,
I
okay.
use that juggler emoji a lot. All right, Joe, lay it on us.
Yeah. So the relentless juggler is the woman who is just juggling all the things. She's drowning in lists. She has lists of lists, and her worth is very much predicated on how much she can hold. So it's this relentless drive to tick things off. There's usually a little bit of perfectionism in there as well, but she's just all about doing everything for everyone else. There's a slight overlap with the silent martyr, but the silent martyr is doing it from a place of, I have to carry it all, because their worth is based on how much they can carry and being needed. Whereas a relentless juggler's worth is based on how much they can do, how much they can juggle, how much they can squeeze in. So they're similar archetypes, but they come from a very different place.
All right, what do we need? Go ahead and tell us.
What do jugglers need?
Hey, y'all, this is a great place to take a break, take a deep breath, and hear from our awesome sponsors that make Women Connected in Wisdom podcast possible. Shannon, we are so grateful that Shayla Glow is the sponsor of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to ask you, when you think about the people who use Shayla Glow, who are we talking about?
That's a good question. I think about 3 groups, really. One, the group that's removing hair, right? So whether you're using laser hair removal, waxing, shaving, you got to make sure that you're putting back what you're taking out. The second group, I think about those with dry skin and the problems that might cause, right? The scars, itching, burning, whatever the situation is, you definitely need all 3 steps, right? The exfoliation, making sure you're taking the dead skin cells off. The oil, putting in the moisture, and then the shea butter with the aloe, sealing it, helping you heal. Those things help both groups, right? And third, for the third group is those with chronic illness. You know, the story is personally from cancer and different diseases that our population is dealing with on a daily basis throughout families as individuals. So I'm thinking about my mom and my grandmother and those around me with the same generational ties, right? And what positive, healthy habits we can start to make sure that we're maintaining our wellness, especially because the skin is like the cape, the exterior, the shield for your immune system. So with COVID, we have to be intentional about covering ourselves. And those are the groups I think about.
I love it. And you know what else I love about your product? It's all natural, handmade, and it smells great, y'all. So
yes,
yay.
Tested. Yes, esthetician tested and approved. Yes. What about you? When you think about your company, what groups of people do you think about?
Well, you know, I work with individual coaching clients. I work in community classes and with corporate teams. And with all of them, I use a strength-based, embodied approach to help folks connect with themselves and access joy, reduce burnout, and build resilience. You know, especially during these times, I think we need it. I think we need all the hashtag partnership power we can get.
Yes.
All right, what do we need? Go ahead and tell us.
What do jugglers need? They need to learn to put some stuff down, and that if they're not doing, they will not die, essentially. That even 3 minutes horizontal is actually going to be the thing that their nervous system needs. So micro doses of rest, because jugglers usually say yes to the PTA, they're the football coach, they're the parent that does the readers. They're the scout leader. They bake the cupcake.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Not discrediting the guests.
They've said yes to a lot of obligations. So learning to say no becomes a really big part of that. But often it's not. It's that these people are energized by opportunities. They want to help. That's a really big part. So it's not saying no from, I'm saying yes when I don't want to. They want to.
Right.
But they take on too much. And they love it. And they're often extroverts and they like being around people and they want to contribute. So it comes from a good place.
I'm a recovering one of those too. I think actually that so far is the one that fits me the best. But I have learned over the years, like the moments of rest and the play and I weave that in. So I'm not in burnout. I think I'm, what's another word instead of relentless?
Tenacious.
I'm not recovering yet. No, I don't. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Next up, we have the untapped powerhouse.
Ooh.
This is the woman who is showing up, who is taking on all the jobs, who is saying yes to everything, but she's not seen and she's not heard.
Oh.
She's overlooked. She's invisible. She's passed over for promotion. She's not able.
Pissed off.
And she's really pissed.
Right?
She's really pissed.
I know some friends that, okay, got it.
Yeah, because a schmuck who does less than her is less qualified than her.
Yeah.
But because they speak up, she's waiting to be shoulder tapped. She's waiting to be given permission to speak up and just takes things and does a huge amount of invisible labor but won't give herself that permission to rise, permission to take the seat at the table that she knows she's capable of. So she's the one holding herself back for ultimate fear of being too much, being
Okay.
too ambitious or too loud or too smart.
What does she need?
She needs permission.
Permission. So what's bubbling up for me, and this may be a side quest that we don't want to go on because we want to finish the next list, but it makes me think about one of our guests, Shannon, talking about human design. And there's certain human designs that like to be asked or permission.
Yes.
So then so you know what I'm talking about, Joe. So then it makes
Yeah,
me
it's a projector.
right. Okay. So if somebody's a projector and they're out of balance with this, and so they're an untapped powerhouse, woo. Okay.
Potentially, what a human design can come in here as in the way you best operate. So if you already have the characteristics of worrying about being too much and feeling invisible and worried about having a big head or some of those things, and you're a projector, you're going to have a double whammy because then you feel the need to be invited. But to be honest, a lot of women need to be given permission because that's been conditioned into us from a very early age. Asking permission, can I have a snack? Can I go play with a friend? Can I go outside? And girls, they've even shown as children, ask more permission or are required to ask for permission more often than little boys. So nobody gave us a ceremony at 18 or 21 and said, okay, you are now an adult. You now no longer have to ask permission to speak, to want something, to step up. But we still sit behind this self-imposed, oh, I better wait till I'm asked, or is it okay? Was I a bit too much? We live in this boundary of not wanting to be the boss or too bossy, and that tightrope we have to walk.
Woo, right? It reminds me of the Barbie soliloquy when they talked about that. And
Exactly.
absolutely. So
It
we
was
were
good.
talking about retreats earlier, right? And I remember at one of the first retreats I facilitated years ago. I mean, that was one of my first things I did, printed off permission slips for everybody. Because what do you need to give yourself permission for? I still live by that practice. If I find myself like I'm not, I'll write it. You have permission to ... And I was, my parents were both public school teachers, so I got a double whammy of having to have permission to do things. So okay, so are we on number 6?
We are
That
on
was
number
6.
6.
No,
So the
this is the
last
6th
one,
one.
this is
Yes.
the 6th one, yeah. The last one is the self-help scholar.
Mm,
So
that one
this is
doesn't
the
sound half
woman.
bad.
This is the woman who knows she's stuck. And she's
Oh,
got, the podcast list, the book list. She's done all the degrees, and she sees the patterns. She knows so much about herself, but she still can't change. And she believes that the answer is
okay.
in another framework or another book or another
Okay.
podcast. So she's living in her head
Okay.
and has this deep-seated fear that she's broken and she has to work out how to fix herself. So on the constant self-improvement treadmill, but what she struggles with is learning to actually implement. So she thinks the answer is more knowledge, when in reality, the answer is more self-trust.
I love
So the answers are not outside of her in a book or a podcast or a framework.
Yeah.
They're inside her, but she needs to learn to make that switch.
Oh, that is so powerful. I love this framework, Joe. I really love this. And you had said earlier that we're going to give the link to folks for the quiz, that they can go and take your quiz and figure out which one they are.
Yeah.
So they do that. They identify that they're a relentless juggler. Just saying.
Just for a friend.
Just for a friend. Right.
For a friend. If they happen to notice that they were that, how would you start working with this person? Like, you are saying that a relentless juggler needs to have rest and take breaks. How do you walk alongside them at the Balance Institute?
So a lot of the work, there's some Band-Aids that you can give people, that people can, I have a 10-minute pocket retreat that a relentless juggler can say, you know what, I'm just going to take 10 minutes. I don't have time to go to Bali or Fiji or Thailand. I don't have time to go somewhere tropical, the Caribbean, and sit there on an island and decompress. So how do I have 10 minutes in my pocket? But essentially, all of these archetypes are about giving permission, and at the core, it's about shifting identity. Because all of these have an identity based on either my worth is in how much I can hold, how much I can do, how much I know, how much I can push. And while you have that identity, that's going to drive a certain amount of, that's going to dictate a certain mindset that comes with that, which then gives you a range of feelings, which gets you a whole different range of behaviors, which therefore gets your results of burnout.
Right.
So that's
And when
the
you're out of
magic
balance
equation
with
that I
it.
talk about, when you're out of balance, so that our thoughts drive our feelings, which drives our behavior and gets us our results. And what sits at the core of our thoughts is our identity. So if I believe that I have to hold everyone, or if I believe that it's my job to keep the house clean, then I'm going to have thoughts like, this house is so messy. I've got to do something about it. You're going to feel guilt or shame if somebody's coming and your kitchen bench is messy, which means you might be up at 10 o'clock putting everything away. Why is there nobody else helps around here? Because you don't want to ask them, because your identity says I have to do it all myself because it's my job. And that gets you awake at 11 o'clock, grumpy, pissed off, angry, but with a kitchen bench or a house that now meets your supposed standards.
Right.
Whereas if your identity is someone who wants a house that's lived in, that might drive thoughts of, okay, well, let me clean the guest room so that they can get to their bed.
Ready.
Because that's ready. That's all that matters, because I've prioritized and I want me to be ready for my guest rather than the entirety of my house. So therefore, I'm going to be able to rationally prioritize what actually matters to me and to my guest. I'm going to do that not from a place of resentment, but from a place of choice and empowerment, because I'm not being driven by subconscious conditioning. I'm being driven from my own power to do the thing that I'm doing. It will take a lot less time because you're not rooted in frustration and anger and resentment. So it's not as heavy. So you won't be as tired after cleaning the guest room, say, if that's the piece that you've chosen to do. And then you finish and can get a sense of satisfaction because you chose to do it.
It's like an incremental step. I love this show. I
Mhm.
feel like I feel like you're talking to my past self. Like, I think I've done a lot of work and I've come a long way from that. But boy, as you're talking, I'm like, boy, she needed that 20 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Some of the late nights and early mornings and the treadmill I put myself on,
Mhm.
especially when I had kids in the house, right? That was just, I mean, no wonder I crashed and burned, because it is unsustainable what we ask
Mhm.
of ourselves sometimes.
And I would love to give space there, like, especially through COVID. You're talking about rewriting the rules of your life, right? And Christine and I were just talking about this, and that's why I smiled so much. I saw this picture, Joe, I think it was on Pinterest or something, right? And it said, "Excuse the mess, we live here." And I love that. Like, people, like, it looks lived in, you know what I mean? This is not
Right?
open house, like, this is not like we're about to buy a property, what is it gonna look like? Let's stage it, you know? Um, and so I would love to give that to moms, because I have friends who, like, I have a friend this year, we barely talk, like, I haven't seen her, and I know part of it is the way she feels about her house. But if that's stopping you from getting the community that you need, if it's stopping you from getting the help that you need,
Mhm.
like, if when I'm a mom, if the house is crazy, like, and we got to the point where she thought she was gonna clean every day, and she's talking about, like, once a week, you know? If they can't come over and understand that you have kids and then watch, okay, you clean it up and watch the kids tear it up, and I've seen it happen, then maybe those aren't the friends that you need at that time,
Mhm.
If we're asking for permission, or we're asking, not permission like, "Mary, may I?" But in whatever situation we're in, if we're asking for what we need and
Mhm.
we're getting met with things that are unhealthy or that don't land right, like, that might happen, and it's good to take a cue from that, and then we know how to pivot and still reach for win-win situations for ourselves. So that's what I would love to talk about, how you support your clients, when they realize what their archetype is, right? And they start doing their work. How do you prepare them for that part of it. We do it with our authors and getting ready to be Amazon bestsellers, right? But I would love to hear how you do it with this whole mindset reframing.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, great question. I found that for women who are juggling a lot,
yeah.
they have this belief that if they need to rest, all right, well, I need a full day. I
Okay.
need to go to the day spa, or I need to go on retreat. I need to go away. It's all about big, grandiose gestures.
Okay.
They completely underestimate the importance and value of micro shifts
Yeah.
or tiny, minute changes. I'm talking 2 or 3 minutes, because it's really tricky to get a half day if you're sitting with kids and you're juggling and you have a job, and to find 4 hours out. And then usually the amount of effort you have to go to in order to get those 4 hours, whether you've got to arrange sitters or you've had to prep meals, and then while you're away you feel guilty, and then you come back and the house is a mess. You're like, why the hell did I bother?
Because you're worth it every time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But when it's I love that. Worth it. Of course you're worth it.
Yeah.
But it's also about learning to put the chaos down. You know, you
Yeah.
talk about rewriting the rules of our life. I find so many women have rules around, I will rest when the house is clean, the
Mm.
fridge is full, the inbox is empty,
Oh, no.
everyone else is taken care of.
Never.
Then when there's that space, I'll rest for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Impossible. Like,
Yeah.
impossible expectations we ask of ourselves, right? Shannon,
Mhm.
we were just having this conversation earlier today, right?
Yeah, we
About
were.
micro naps.
And so that's why you saw us light up and do that, Joe. So you said 3 minutes earlier, and I was telling Christine that I've been going as small as 2, a little 2-minute,
Mhm.
just cut it off, cut everything off, lights, lights. Like,
Mhm.
would you
Mhm.
say? So my question for you was, is 3 minutes your minimum that you have some type of research behind? What do you think about 2-minute naps? Do you know anything that says there's a certain minimum that we should do for it to be effective?
Anything.
Okay, beautiful. So 2
Literally,
minutes, y'all. Yeah,
one deep breath, one one
right.
inhale where you can exhale, you know, a longer exhale than an inhale. Even one of those can
Yeah,
be enough to circuit break your nervous system, because what tends to happen when we're on the treadmill, when we're juggling, when we're carrying everything, we forget, and I'm sure Christine as an embodied coach is aware of this, we live in our heads and we start to live from the chest up. So we
yeah,
shallow breathe, we tense, we hold everything. And this is how we get completely disconnected between our head and our body. So even one micro moment of stopping and closing your eyes and looking at an empty wall or staring out the window
yeah,
and just coming back into center can be enough for your nervous system to go, oh, by the way, I need the bathroom. By the
yeah.
way, I'm hungry. You've been ignoring these signals that I've been trying to get through, but you've been so deep in hustle that you're not hearing me.
Right. I think about that with our watches, right? A lot of us wear these watches and there's a setting on them that you can say how many times you stand up. And when I
Mm.
first got it, I thought, well, that's silly. I can't
Hmm.
tell you how many times it is the watch that reminds me to get up from my computer and
Wow.
stand up because I've been sitting
Mhm.
too long. Because I got
Mm,
Mhm.
hyper focused in something. And I
Mhm.
thought, oh, I'll just do one more thing or one
yeah.
more email. Like there's always one more email,
Yeah,
right?
Mhm.
yeah,
And it's like that reminder of, no, stand up,
yes.
walk, go to the bathroom, get another glass of water,
Mhm.
interrupt this
Yes,
cycle.
yes,
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And I love, and I do the same thing with my clients, right? Like one thing.
yeah,
So we talk a lot on the podcast show about, if you can, go outside and put your feet in the grass
Mhm.
between Zoom meetings, right?
Mhm.
And when I was during the pandemic, when I was teaching people how to use Zoom and be effective and also have fun on it, we would always say, just remember to take your eyes off the screen. Like you said that about a blank wall. Like
mhm,
Mhm.
find something of beauty. I have this really lovely piece of art in my office that I'll pause and I'll just look at this piece of art for a couple of seconds, and it
mhm,
Mhm.
refreshes me.
mhm.
And also then, but it does honestly, as the relentless juggler, make me think, oh, I really want to create more art. Oh, where can I put that?
That's why I do love a blank wall, because we have so much stimulation coming in through our eyes so often
Right.
that sometimes you have to reduce. If you can't close them, often people are sitting in meetings or whatever else. If you just look at a wall that has nothing on it, your brain has nothing to churn. There's nothing to think. I mean, oh, there's a cobweb over there. You know, that's going to come up.
Right.
You know, you notice a cobweb on the wall. But find a wall that's clean that you can just stare at, because then you can, if you want to keep your eyes open, if you don't feel like closing them, well, then there's no inputs coming into your eyes. And usually our visual system takes up about 80% of our sensory input. So by shutting your eyes or removing all of that visual stimulation, you allow your other senses time to come up, whether that's you might hear something different. The whole point generally is that you feel something. You might go, oh, actually my shoulder's a bit funny, but you've been hunched over like this, you know, doing something in a completely wrong position for the last however long.
Right.
We always love and talk about dance breaks. Like, put on your favorite music for a minute, 2 minutes, and then in interplay, we always say, and then take a moment to notice. Like, check in with your body and notice what feels good. Because I can tell you, when you're over 30, the first thing we think about is what doesn't feel good. But look for the good and what feels good, and what's working, right? So that's my micro time to dance.
Yeah. We often say to our clients when we're doing a somatic drop-in or a check-in or something like that, even no matter how crazy you are on the inside, if you're frantic on the inside, if you've got ants everywhere, there is usually one place in your body that is at peace, even if it's your pinky toe. Can you just go and find the peace in your pinky toe and take a little bit of that peace and bring it up into your shoulders or your chest or your hands, or just take one deep breath. And so the more we can normalize micro breaths, 2-minute naps, stare at a wall, go outside. My daughter came home from school the other day. I was just out the front of on my driveway, standing in the sun. And she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Just standing in the sun."
Charging up.
But doing what? I'm like, "Just getting some sunshine." She looks at me weird. I'm like, "No, I'm doing a few almost like sun salutations, kind of putting my arms up, shaking things out. She's like, "You're weird." I'm like, "Thank you."
Yep, I love it. Congratulations on that. Yeah.
Right? You did it, Mom. I love it.
So Joe, what we just put on the screen, the wisdom in action, y'all. We talk about this every week. This week we're talking about intellectual wellness, right? You just mentioned something. You were outside intentionally in the sun, but anything else that comes up, right? What are you doing for yourself to maintain your intellectual wellness?
I do a lot for my mindset and for my body, because I find that my mind and body are completely interconnected. And I'm not somebody who is a bricklayer who uses my hands as widgets. My wealth is my brain, and my brain happens to sit in a body. And so if that body is full of cortisol and adrenaline, then my brain isn't going to be as focused and functional as it needs to be. So I'm not somebody who has a specific practice every day. I'm someone who tends to lean into what do I feel I need today. But I'm doing usually 3 or 4 things for myself in micro doses. So I tend to journal pretty regularly as a tool if I need it. There's things I do around whether it's meditation or breathing or dancing to music. I actually love intentional silence. So my family hates it when they get in the car and they always know Mum's been driving because they put on the music and it's silent.
You're welcome.
So they get in and like, where's this? Like, oh, Mum's been in the car, the volume's right down.
You're right.
So I'm well known for I'll go for a walk with my headphones in silence, so that if I come across anybody, I'm like, on a call, like, don't want to talk to you right now.
Oh, really? They don't get it.
So intentional. I'm somebody who my brain works fast and a lot, and that's my gift. I don't want to dull that down, but there are times where I have to override it and say it's time not to think right now. So it's not shaming my brain for how it works, because that's my gift, but it's learning to tame it and not let it completely be in the backseat, or I would be in that corner in a straitjacket rocking if I
Yeah.
let it rule me.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I hear you, like, I hear you honoring your mind and saying, "But this is what I said," and you still keeping authority, which is important, and it's difficult. It's, something that we have to be intentional about. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and I do a lot of work around my intuition as well. That's something that has been a journey for me over the past probably 5 years, to learn to tap into that intuition. What is it that I really want? Because my brain will override just one more email, one more thing off the list, that adrenaline and dopamine rush of ticking something off your list, but listening to that intuition, to that wisdom of, okay, you're done.
Yeah.
Mm. Do you have a simple exercise for somebody that's listening to help tap into their intuition?
I found that the best way to get access to my intuition was in the little things. So when I would get in the car, rather than defaulting to, well, I need to be productive and efficient with this time, let me listen to a podcast, just getting in the car, closing my eyes and saying, what do I really need right now? Do I feel like a
Mm.
podcast? Do I feel like music? Do I feel like silence? Looking in the morning at my clothing or my earrings and going, actually, which earrings do I really want to wear? Not should wear, not what's practical, not what goes with the outfit. Get out of your head. What is it that actually is true for you? So little teeny tiny things.
I
Do I
love
want
that.
jam on my toast, or do I want peanut butter? Like, just what are the teeny tiny things? Because you have to build the muscle of connecting to your intuition when the stakes are really low, so that when the stakes are high, whether there's a business decision you need to make, or you're selling a house, or it's a child rearing decision that can feel high stakes, you've built that connection and you can tell the difference between the mental chatter and what the truth for you really is.
Mhm.
Ooh, I love that example.
Yeah,
Love that example.
and what I would say too, to support that, is when I do that and when I decide quickly sometimes, I might say no and then give a whole reason, and then it sounded good, but it's like, "You know what, though? No, that's actually second to it is a yes. Let's go ahead and change the schedule and let's do XYZ because we can make it work?" And so
Mhm.
sometimes when I say the answer that I thought was the answer, that also helps me, like, realize that that might not
And
I
then
thought it was
you
true, but it's not,
right,
like, let's
and
do
then
this
you take a
instead.
beat to
Yeah,
check in.
and I say, "I'm
Yeah.
just gonna change my mind, actually. This is what let's,
Mm.
rewrite it."
Mhm.
You said that about the car. It always makes me think one of my practices is I like the silent time, and then I just ask, "Is there anybody I need to connect with during this
Mhm,
time?" And, sometimes people pop in that I haven't talked to in a year or 2
Mm.
years, or, like, they're just all of a sudden there, and I call them, and it's a perfect time, or,
Mm.
like, something, like, it's amazing how often that happens when you
Mm.
really stop and you listen and you're like, "Okay, what is needed in this moment?" I
mhm,
love that. Shannon,
Learning
what's your
also.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just say one last thing is, I've learned to, you mentioned this, something comes up about I need to call this person. I've learned not to question the intuition, because some of my stuff's really weird. It's like, go and listen to this song. I haven't listened to that song and I haven't heard it anywhere. And I listen to that song and go, what is going on? I look at the lyrics and go, oh, that's a message for me. Thank
mhm.
Mhm.
you. Okay, got it. So
Nice.
learning not to judge the whispers or the nudges that I get has been a really big part of that journey.
Right. I often argue sometimes. I mean, I've learned
I
not to as
I have
much,
to
but
work on it.
sometimes I'm like, "No," or,
I'm working on
like, but then it'll come 2 times or 3 times, and it's like, "Okay,
it.
you could have saved yourself so much
Just
angst,
listen the
and
first
if
time.
you'd have just listened the first time." Yep, absolutely. Shannon, what are you thinking for your
Mhm,
wisdom in action this week?
mhm.
What you
I
thinking
have
about?
it ready. Where did I write it? Joe said so much stuff that was amazing. Let me see. I thought I put a hashtag in front of it. We're talking about the next achievement with the hollow achiever. Let's see.
While you're looking that up, I
Yeah,
wanted to
what's
tell
yours?
you,
Mhm.
I just wanted to
Tell me
tell
something else.
Joe,
Okay.
have you heard of the song "Big Love in the Small Moments" by J.J. Hiller?
No, I am not.
Okay, I'm gonna send that to you because it really came up. I can't remember which one you were talking about, which one of the burnouts, but that song came really strongly for me, and we're talking about intuition, so I wanna share it with you because it's something
Mhm.
I use with some of my clients, and it's a really powerful song. So
Mm.
I'll email it to you.
Sounds great.
Shannon, I'm thinking about for my wisdom in action, I loved being reminded of give yourself permission. Like
Mhm.
it's a practice I've had for years, and I think I'm gonna sit with that and meditate and see what I need to give myself permission for. That maybe I've been holding back a little bit. So, or give myself permission to set down is probably more than
Mhm.
I think this evening you need to not be a crazy person around
right.
your house.
Oh, my husband is gonna love that answer. My crew and I've gotten so much better at it over the years, Joe, but, like, my crew used to say, "Oh, it's event mode," or, "Oh,
Mm.
it's company mode," because
Mm.
they're like, "Where'd you go?" Like, now there's
Yeah.
this crazy person, and it's like, what is happening here?" And it is just that programming that you talk about that, like, would come over like a
Mhm.
yeah, that's
Mhm.
why.
In my house, it's called Crazy Mummy Clean.
Oh.
Mm.
I've seen a video about this before because my kids have shared it with me, honestly.
Yeah. So there's normal clean, there's mum clean, there's Mima clean, which is my mother. So my mum has a different standard, and then there's crazy mummy clean. So there's 4 levels of cleanliness in the household.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, this is
Um,
real.
no, it
What you
is a
got,
real
Shannon?
thing. And I'm gonna say for my intellectual wellness, I'm gonna say try the system.
Okay.
Try the system. Because like I said, a lot of times when I say yes or no, that'll show what it is, right? And as we set up the levels on the different houses, actually in the different houses and the systems in the different businesses, what I know setting up systems and having started businesses and open restaurants before, you're going to start the system, but the system's going to need to change, right? You're going to have to update it after that, or you're going to get some
Mm.
feedback and it's not going to be the final one. So we've been having a really good time setting up the systems. That's for my intellectual wellness, right? And helps me
And you love a good system.
because I know with a burnout, I might be all of these. Like, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, what are like? I got to go
You
back
gotta
into
take the
it.
quiz.
Like,
We're gonna put the quiz
take
in
the
the show
quiz. What's
notes,
the top one? Like,
right?
you know?
And then before we let you go, Joe, what's
Yeah,
next steps? Like, how
yeah.
do people work with you? Or what do you have that folks can address this burnout? When they say, "Yep, that's me." What do I do next?
Yeah, so the most common way, obviously, there's the quiz and there's a range of resources that come off that people can choose to step into. But I have a 12-week executive coaching program, my signature program, Rewires Burnout at the Root. So it's all about that identity of whether you're the relentless juggler or the silent martyr, the identity of I've got to carry it all, because unless we deal with the patterns that are at the root of your burnout, then it's not going to change. So yes, there's practical strategies and hints and tips that you can put in place from a physical and emotional perspective, but we've got to rewire you. And that's the really fun and exciting work we get to do.
Love it. And I
Ah,
would love to ask you one more question, and I know we're over time. Do you have space for this, Joe?
Yes, I do.
We talked before the call about women, and you mentioned it a little bit, right? In our minds, in our heads, above the neck, and disconnected from our bodies, and how that is where a lot of women are. Can you talk through a little bit of what you do to help people get back in their bodies? Because that's part of my goal with Women Connected in Wisdom, is for us to be attached to these resources, but be fully present.
hmm First up, I found that women need to understand the value of their bodies, because we almost have to go in through the head to help them see the ROI of listening to their bodies, because in their minds, I've got so far without it. It hasn't hurt me so far. And my brain is what has got me rewarded. It's got me my income. It's got me my success. And now you're telling me that suddenly my brain is bad. So often a lot of people who come in through body work just come in through well, you need to feel, and like, I don't have time to feel. Have you seen my list? So we have to actually connect with them where they're at. And I have found that helping women understand the importance of feelings, that they are signals, that they are actually hijacking their brains, and the more they connect to their body, the more productive they're going to be, the more focused they're going to be. When they see there's a benefit to their brains, then they open up to learning how to do that. So again, it's a mindset shift first. Once they realize that there's a benefit here to me, and the irony is, all women who come to me, I say, well, what is it? What does success look like for you? And they say, calm, peaceful, in control. I want joy. I'm like, they're all in your body. They're not in your head. So all the things that you want are actually in your body. So we've got to get you there in order for you to get your new definition of success.
What
Beautiful.
a great way to wrap the show, Joe.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for your wisdom. Thank you for your work in the world. This has been a delightful conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for some great questions and for being relentless jugglers and silent martyrs and all the things. So it's obviously very easy to relate. Go take the quiz and find out which one you are.
Right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Oh, we're so grateful to be connected, Joe. We look forward to more.
Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Oh my gosh. What a fun episode.
Yeah.
Did you see you said you saw yourself in most of them?
So, and you know what's interesting, because I did say all, but the silent part, I decided not to be silent. I was like,
Right.
martyr depends on, the story, but silent, no, we're
That one
podcasters,
runs
so
in my family, and I
yeah.
consciously chose not to go that route. I can have some tendencies. So when she said the relentless juggler also has some overlap, I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I could see that. I
Yeah.
could see that. And I've shifted so much over the years, right? I would say 20 years ago, that's exactly where I was. And I still
Wow.
have those tendencies, but
Yeah.
I've then brought in the embodiment and the interplay and the pauses and
Mhm.
the weaving of the radical self-care. So it's
Yeah.
not at burnout level.
And I love, I love the framework of it, because it gives our ladies and our listeners a really good place to say, hey, I could talk more here, or
Right?
hey, I could be an achiever, but I could include joy. I could include celebration and rest with each goal, like we talk about, and like I wrote
And
about it.
permission and
So,
trust, yeah.
all those
Oh,
things.
I can't
So
wait.
it's gonna be good.
We're gonna put the link to the quiz in our show notes, y'all, and ways to reach Joe and just good stuff.
Mm.
Anything we need to shout out before we close
Mm.
episode 203 today?
Yes, y'all. So we are September 9th or September 17th today, getting ready to close out this year. Get subscribed, right? We talked about some things that we have coming. We talked about retreats. We've talked about volume 3. We have some classes on the way for you, right? So if you want to
We
make
have an
sure that you
audio book coming out in
audio book
October. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
about to be published, whoop, whoop, volume
Look,
2.
Joe's probably like, relentless jugglers.
We're not juggling. We're taking off projects from 2023. Okay, we're done. Bwah, 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 bwah. So we're recovering. Okay, relentless recoverers. Okay, but it's gonna be good, y'all. So get subscribed, get locked in.
Right.
And
Yeah, join us over at YouTube if you're not, because
yeah.
we haven't put a lot of time and attention on that platform, and we're shining a little light over there. So if you can
Hold on.
subscribe over on
Hold on.
YouTube.
I know we're
Did I
6
say
minutes
that wrong?
past. We haven't put in a lot of time and attention when my business
We are
partner has been putting in hours on these shorts. Okay, she has been doing a lot of work on YouTube and stuff. You just take all your credit over.
we are shining some more light
Yeah,
over
we are.
there.
There we are.
Okay. All right, you're right. So join us over there, subscribe,
Yeah,
we love whatever your platform on, and we love your input. So shoot us some comments, give us
yeah.
some, I don't like the word shoot us some comments.
Okay.
Send us some comments
Yes, yes.
and connect with us. We'd love
Yeah.
to be in conversation and community with you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. All right, y'all. We'll be here live at 5 next week. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. Thanks for being here.
This has been the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. On air live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern via Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be part of the conversation and get connected at womenconnectedinwisdom.com.